Second.
And moved and seconded. All in favor? Thank you. One absent.
Opposed?
So we're gonna start right in, there's no old business, we start right in with new business.
Everyone should have gotten a memo from me with the warrant updated, highlighted, are the articles that need to be, that were, some of them were passed over, and one was just not put in because I didn't realize that the date of a particular lease is coming due in March. It's a 3-year lease for the food pantry. So those are the three. Then we have one other warrant article that should be before you. It's not numbered, but it's the chipping did not get done at the transfer station for a number of reasons. And so there's a request for a $10,000 carry forward from the 2018 solid waste budget to the 2019 budget, so that would be repiled to be finished up with the 2018 budget that was allotted for. So that's
Take us right to the one we got started with.
okay. So article, the first highlighted article is Article 12. And this is the article authorizing the board to enter into a 3-year a continuing 3-year contract with the Belgrade Rome Special Needs Pantry for use of the North Belgrade Community Center.
Okay, so what's the feeling of the board?
It's fine, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why don't we just make this a self-renewing thing unless we want to stop it? In other words, if it, for some reason, we don't want to continue, just like now, if we didn't want to continue for some reason, second year in, we're going to take action to stop it. But why not just let it renew automatically?
What does it say in the original agreement? I guess that's.
Well,
This is a renewal for 3 years.
it essentially asks the town for the authority to allow the select persons to lease the facility for 3 years to the Belgrade Special Needs Pantry. This is essentially the same. What it says.
I know that, but why, instead of just perpetuating this, why don't we let it renew automatically for 3-year periods?
Well,
And then at the end of every 3-year period, if we want, we can stop it, but.
the only reason it's here is that's up for discussion, I suppose, because I didn't know, I would have thought that the article would read something along the lines to allow the board to lease that facility out on terms that they felt were in the best interest of the town. That would allow you on an ongoing basis to do it. But this was very particular to a 3-year agreement. That's why.
Well, originally it was 1 year. It was 1 year.
Well, we never even had a lease with them for a number of years, because up until 2010.
But I think this was done last way when they moved into the new building out there.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm on favor of doing it, what you're saying, but I don't know if you can do it right now.
Well,
What would we
we
have
put
to
it
do?
before the town.
Well,
Just modify what this says. Then put it before the town. If they go along with it, we've done it. If they don't.
well, you've got one more meeting to authorize, to accept the final warrant, right? I can come up with language, put it all out to you guys, you can comment on it and all that, we can finalize the language and then we can do that. Or we can work on language tonight, I mean.
Why can't the date just be taken out and become a forever article?
Maybe,
Did we agree that they have the use of the facility for the food pantry and have no date on it and have it be a forever article?
Until changed by a future vote of the town.
Well, isn't that true of any
Yeah,
forever
no,
article?
that's what I'm saying.
That's the nature of forever, that's the nature of
Right,
a
but I was
forever
gonna put
article.
the wording in here, you need to put that.
You're not dispensing pot or anything like that.
just down the road.
Where's that?
Blueberry pie.
Blueberry.
Do you wanna make a motion to change it, or do you wanna change it?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we change it to
Forever article?
forever, as suggested, make it into a forever article. Just let it go on until it's changed.
Well, what I would do is.
Actually, I like what Denny suggested, that we give the select board the right to do it. Because that way we can, if an emergency comes up, we can change it coming in.
Isn't a forever article the decision of the town?
Yes, I think you're right.
But I mean, we could,
You could make a proposal to terminate it and have the town vote on it at town meeting, but
If it's a forever.
you wouldn't have to be
Okay,
authorizing it every
here's-
year.
Here's language that I would propose. To proceed with voting by secret ballot on the following question, shall the town of Belgrade authorize the select board to continue the agreement between the town and the Belgrade Rural Special Needs Assistance Food Pantry and allow it to continue unless changed by a future vote of the town? Any associated costs will be considered as a donation by the town to the food bank.
how's it sound to you?
That sounds wonderful.
Okay,
Yes, thank you.
That's my motion.
that's the motion, I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. Any more discussion on it? Seeing none, all in favor of that? 4 and 1 absent?
Why are there numbers for?
Well,
against?
that was just a cut and paste. I asked her to cut and paste it, and she did.
Well, while we're on this page, did we have, for and against numbers for Article 9?
There were some articles that, did you see her?
I wasn't here for the whole meeting, I was in and out, so I didn't get all the numbers.
So, as I said in my note, we're gonna have all the numbers put in pursuant to that.
Well, we already voted on that.
Yeah, that's why it's not highlighted, but the numbers weren't put in all of this,
So we gotta go to the budget committee on that.
yeah, because there's,
No.
Ricky, was that a vote to change the language in the article or vote to accept the article? Because you didn't.
That was to change the order.
Yeah, change the article.
Okay, so now
So
accept
now
it,
you're
and
gonna
then
vote.
we'll
Now
accept
we're
it.
gonna accept the article.
Okay,
We're gonna accept the article.
make a motion, we accept the article as changed, rewritten.
Second.
Okay, we moved and seconded. Any discussion on it? Seeing none, all in favor? 4 and 1 absent. Now you guys can.
Budget committee,
Thank you.
favor?
You guys in favor of the article?
I guess we're 5 and 1, absent.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
thank you for coming, it was very.
Yep.
Mike, can I hold for just a second?
You going?
No, go ahead, keep going.
Next article is,
That's the next one.
what is it?
Next, it would be under cemeteries,
Yeah, I think it was
Article 27,
27.
and I believe this was passed over because
We didn't have the amount. for
No, the numbers.
trust.
we didn't have.
And the numbers that are in there, I think are still wrong.
You think they will? Did you say?
I'm looking at my copy that was, did you change it from what Denny sent out?
I haven't,
Okay, so the town will raise, it should be 30,337 and appropriate 12,013 from the trust.
12 what?
Pardon me?
What was it, 12,000 what?
12,000, 12,013, 12,013. That's the aggregate of the trust related to cemeteries and the amount from the trust being subtracted from 42,350.
27.
What is the deal,
337.
the interest on the LaCroix Trust and Yetton Fund?
What,
Is that included, could that be included in that?
that's the, for the cemetery, that's the Yetton, the LaCroix, the portfolio, and the perpetual care.
All in that
Those
Article
four.
27?
That's those four come to $12,013.
Okay, thank you.
So the raising amount is 30,337?
Correct, 30,337. And then appropriate 12,013. I believe that's the right numbers.
Okay. I'm fine
she
with it.
did take out, she did do like that trust.
Okay,
So I'm okay with that.
okay, we all set with that?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
so, we should make a motion
Yeah, what's your motion on?
to amend this to the correct numbers.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Then moved and seconded, any discussion on it? None, all in favor?
Okay. That's for the amended motion.
Yeah, now you gotta go back to the article.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we accept the article as amended. And
Yeah, fine. So there's a second? Moved and seconded, any discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor? 5 and 4 and 1 absent.
Budget committee? 5 and 1 absent.
Okay? Next one, Danny?
Next one will be Article 28.
And what's,
That's to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 to be placed in the Plan 5 capital reserve account for future surveying and construction costs. New cemetery lots, current balance in Plan 5 is capital reserve is $20,000. The reason why this is back on here is that the last, at the budget meeting when this was passed over, I was requested to go and find out what the surveying costs were, and so Phil recommended that we held off. The surveying costs are about $3,000 to $5,000 according to Elliot Thayer. I came back and talked to Phil, and Phil said that,
I'd like to leave it in there.
yes, but the sum of $5,000 would be placed. Do you want that additional sum?
Yes.
Yes.
so it really didn't change,
No, it didn't.
so we're fine.
Yeah, we eliminated the water.
I know that was the last one.
Yeah,
But this was left open because there was some question
right.
about what they needed.
Yeah, I think we need to leave that in there.
That was right now.
Yeah.
That was sure.
Exactly.
So, we're gonna accept the article the way it's written right
Okay,
now.
I'll make a motion to accept the article the way it's written.
Second? Then moved and seconded, any discussion on it? Seeing none, all in, oh, Jack?
Is there a plan in the schedule to do the work?
Not as yet. We'll be working on it this winter.
When I had asked the question, because you had asked it before at the budget meetings that got back to me when I wasn't at that one budget meeting. My understanding initially there was a 5-year plan,
Right,
right?
there is.
And we're what, 3 years
We're
into
in
that?
3 years into it.
We need some grades before we can go any further.
Right. And we gotta
We
talk
need
to the
the survey.
surveyor and.
Get the
get
surveyor
that.
in there, get the grades set, we're getting close. Start putting road. Okay,
So what was the?
with us 4,
Discussion.
1 absent, and it goes to budget committee then.
Budget committee?
6,
5 and 1 absent.
I'm against.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're against it?
Okay, so it's 4, 1, and 1 absent.
And then we come to Article,
36,
well, you want to do Kenny's article first? Well, let's do all of these. in a minute.
Kenny's on this thing.
Let's do Article 36. To see, you want to read it?
No, go ahead, yeah.
To see if the town will raise and appropriate $90,550 to pay general liability and casualty, workers' compensation, unemployment, and health reimbursement administration fees for municipal employees. The 2018 request was $85,573. The actual spent was $67,264. The 2019 request was $90,950. And did you want to say anything about that? Okay.
Okay, what's your pleasure, the board?
Move the approval.
I'll second that.
Then moved and seconded. Any discussion on this?
Did we discuss why it's so different? Why?
Workers' comp went up $11,000.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah,
I remember that.
our, what is it called, rating, or, what's the reason, went down because of a couple things that happened.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Yep.
any more discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor? 4 and 1 absent. Budget committee?
5 and 1 absent.
Thank you.
To accept the article.
We didn't change it,
We didn't change it.
Oh, okay.
we just plugged the numbers in.
Gotcha.
Okay, Article 37.
Article 37,
Can we read it?
okay, Article 37. Well, actually, yes. To see if the town will raise, appropriate, authorize, designate, or release the collective sum of question dollars as dictated by the following trust. Well, I forgot to put the, okay, I didn't have that.
What was the amount?
$18,148 dictated by the following trusts and funds. To make available to the principal of the Belgrade Central School the interest in the amount of $363, from the Robert A. Guptill Historical Fund for the promotion and appreciation of history. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $945 and appropriate $55 from the Don C. Stevens Fund for a total of $1,000 to support an academic award from the town to the highest ranking Belgrade senior graduating in 2019. To authorize use of the Don C. Stevens Fund income in the amount of $17,730 to benefit the public schools of Belgrade. Total article $18,148. 2018 request $15,340. 2018 actual $14,395. 2019 request $18,148.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion, we accept that.
Then moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor? 4 and 1 absent. Budget committee?
5 more.
Thank you.
The next article is Article 41. Shall the town raise and appropriate $70,000 to establish the well contamination remediation reserve fund for the remediation of salt contaminated wells? This was an article that came up out of a request to actually raise and appropriate that sum for the 50% portion that the DOT says we should be sharing. It was recommended that we establish this reserve account by the board last meeting, so we came up with the language and we left it over for a vote at this meeting.
Pleasure of the board?
Move it.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this?
Do we need to have any kind of explanation for this, or just what it is?
Well, the explanation will be on the floor.
Seeing none, all in favor? 4 and 1 absent. Budget committee?
Budget committee? In favor? 5 and 1 absent.
Thank you.
The next article, it's not highlighted for some reason, is Article 45. This is the LD one, vote to increase property tax levy. To see if the town will vote to increase property tax levy limit of $1,455,560 established for the Belgrade by state law in the event the municipal budget approved under the preceding articles will result in a tax commitment that is greater than the property tax levy limit. Last year we had a property tax levy limit of $1,402,000. Where is my book?
You just showed it to me.
Well, it's I have that right here. I got it right here.
And we didn't need to.
What was last year's, did you
It was
say?
$1,402,000. I'm sorry, I thought I had
You got it right here, because you showed it to me just.
$1,402,679. Our actual expenditures, based on the money we spent, was $1,398,265.26. So we were about $4,000 under the property tax levy limit imposed last year. Even though the town voted to go forward on that, just in case we didn't go over. I mean, I went back and talked with it.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board, Moose?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Make the motion, we accept it.
Are you second?
Second.
Okay, we moved and seconded. Any discussion on this?
So we're about $55,000 over.
No, it allows, every year, the property tax levy limit is increased by a statewide, increase in, it's an increase, due to cost of living, and then the increase in growth of the property values. So I can give you guys a copy of this anytime you want, but the, increase in, I should have just kept that. The increase calculated by Robbie, our assessor, and then I went back through and calculated it, but it was 0.01, and the increase in the overall cost of living was 0.0277, so that you multiplied last year's limit by 1.0377, and that's what gives you this year's limit.
What's the sum of expenses if everything that's in the warrant passes?
Do you have that?
$1,936,400.50.
Okay, now, you're gonna say, whoa, we're way over. Well, in fact, we allocate, one of your questions was in your warrant that you passed out, the question on the warrant that you passed out with red. One of your questions was, why was the one number exactly, the revenues, why was it exact? Because we have to estimate what we're going to get, and we kind of are conservative on the estimates. We get more than that. And in calculating the property tax commitment, we also get a lot of other things that don't show up anywhere else. We get LRAP, we get tree growth funds, we get a lot of other revenue sources that decrease the actual tax commitment. So that's why that number is as high as it is relative to the property tax limit. Last year, the number was, where was it? I believe the number was last year 1.808 million plus so many dollars, but the property tax levy limit was 1.402. But because of all the revenues that we got from the state, that reduced the actual amount that we had. But we won't know those revenues. We have to estimate them until after the fiscal year closes for the state.
Okay, so
I can go over this whole thing with you.
we can't have that now, we just don't.
We just don't have the actual number. That's why, if you think you're gonna get close, you ask for a vote over. So we've asked for the vote over, but we didn't go over.
So what was that number again for the total for this, this warrant?
1936.
I'm sorry?
1936,450.
It's about 126,000 out from last year, I think it is. So that's
And last
why
year's
you
was
might think
1.8.
that we are gonna go over, but we might not.
08,853.50.
I didn't catch the last three.
1808,853.50.
Okay. Any more discussion on that?
So we really won't know what this is
We will,
until the end of the meeting.
we won't know, exactly whether or not we're gonna, yes, we won't know until the end of the week. Right? But beyond that, we won't know whether we're gonna go over or not until we get all of the numbers in from the state that fiscal year. So, if you want, I can go through the property tax.
We won't know until the end of this calendar year. We never have yet. Okay. Is there any more discussion on this? Seeing none, I entertain a vote on this. All in favor? 4 and 1 absent. Budget committee?
I'm sorry, which one was that?
That-
Oh, that was go over, okay. Once again, what's the significance of this vote? Why are we
We're
voting?
just accepting that as a warrant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just recommending it as well.
Right.
Should the town go over that limit, if the town votes to accept that, then if we go over, there's no penalty. Town just simply raises the floor, but we didn't go over it, so the floor wasn't right.
So you got one more article that we need to.
Yes, I got one more article, and then I've got a question that someone asked me that I'm gonna raise to the board, just because it was asked, and I know it's gonna be asked at a meeting or something, so just consider. As I indicated earlier, the trash, the waste wood and debris, wood debris piles were not chipped prior to the end of the fiscal year. We allocate so much every year to have those chipped. The estimated cost to finish that chipping is about $10,000. So Kenny asked, there's two ways we can approach it, as I mentioned in my email. We could raise the budget for the solid waste for next year by $10,000. What that does, though, is it actually leaves $10,000 that isn't going to be used in solid waste that are going into undesignated funds, right? So he thought that, and I agree, that the better approach would be to carry forward that money so that it's not used and charged. It's not used for undesignated, it's actually used for the purposes that was raised. So the warrant article that I've written to accommodate that, if you want to go forward, it's not numbered, I don't know what the number will be, but it'll come in the final warrant. To see if the town will authorize a carry forward of $10,000 from the solid waste calendar year 2018 budget to the calendar year 2019 budget for the purpose of completing the chipping of the waste wood debris piles, period.
I wouldn't think you wanna raise that money again, we've already raised it once.
No, yeah, I would just have, I guess I'd make a motion, we
Carry forward.
carry forward and
I would second
authorize
that.
the article, this article.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. Budget committee?
If we get down to fine points on this Article 45, when it comes to final analysis, how will this $10,000 be treated? Will it be considered last year or this year?
It would be considered, it would be used for that purpose. You couldn't, it would be used, it'd be, well, how would that be? You're the accountant.
Last year.
It's last year's money, it doesn't count.
So it's just carrying forward. It wouldn't count against the specific money.
Okay, so that wouldn't have anything to do with Article 45. Thank you.
So 5 to 1.
Budget committee? Yeah. Yep, 5-1.
Okay, now the issue that I'm going to bring forward, where is that? Okay, Article 14.
Here we go.
I had a resident or so all very upset when they heard about this particular article. It's the charge, it's the interest rate being charged to taxes paid after September 6th. Which went from 2% or 4%, I guess it was, to 8%. And we had a long discussion, and I know that all of the discussion out there. I'm raising it because the individual didn't show up tonight. The individual was going to raise it to you in any case. So I'll be able to tell her I raised it, we had a discussion, whatever. But she felt that that was putting, even though there was a recognition that people are potentially abusing the system because they can, whatever. She felt that that was placing an undue burden on those poor income families who on a $2,000 tax bill would have to pay another additional $150, $160 in interest if it went beyond the year. So I raise it. You can discuss it again or whatever. There is that concern, and I'm sure it'll come up on the floor of the town meetings in any case. You can always lower it on the floor of the town meeting. You can lower it here. It's up to you. You just raise the issue. You've already voted on it. There's no need to do anything other than the fact that I'm bringing it to your attention.
I think it's likely any increase, there'll be objections to. So why not leave it where it is and see what happens on the floor?
I'd like to see where you can get that much money. I've been trying to find it. I called the banks and everything. They don't pay that kind of. That's all right. I'll get them in a minute. I'm going to speak my piece first. I don't know where you guys are coming from with this. I can't believe it. And I'm gonna speak against you at town meeting. I'll tell you, because this really bothers me. I mean, I can't find a bank that'll pay you 4%. So, how do you guys figure this is, they're using this for a bank? That's what I don't get. We'll wait at town meeting unless you guys wanna change it tonight. Katie's had her hand up first.
I think it's a big increase in 1 year, and we don't have any idea yet how much your tax bills are going up. And if they go up, and they can't pay, I mean, you've seen it steadily go like this. And I know what they're doing, and it's people with money, using their money to earn more money for themselves. But how many do you have that are still owing from 2 or 3 years back? Do you tax all that at a new rate too? If it's
a tax at whatever rate was authorized. We do see,
when? Authorized for that first
for the year. So
you
for
don't
2018,
jump that-
whatever was
don't
authorized,
jump that to
it carries forward. This is for the taxes paid that year, as I understand it. We do see a large number of people not pay their taxes in time, and then the following year, that number decreases. You can look at the end of your town report and you can see that happen. But I guess the issue that the individual was raising, believe me, it wasn't, I know how Ricky,
Right, you don't
it
want
wasn't
to-
Ricky, he would have brought it up himself, but
That's right.
the issue that the individual was raising essentially said, even given that, we should be protecting those people that were having a hard time paying their property taxes and to add an additional burden on them. And she was very upset. And, I felt she wasn't here, I didn't see her, I knew she probably wanted to come, but maybe it was too hazardous out there for her. But I thought I owed it to her to raise the issue, because she was permanently raising it.
Thank you. Jack?
In comparing this rate with the rate, the alternative rate that people would pay, it's not what I don't think it should be what the bank is paying interest. It's what the credit card interest is. And that's in the 15%, 17% range, from what I can see.
All depends what you got for a credit card. Jason?
Well, I didn't know if it would be worth if there was a threshold where it started to become real money, and then if I might have a high yield stock, I wanted to keep that money in for a period of time. If you could identify those players, and then you could just sort of mark a threshold for the, certain income, and then.
Sounds good, but I don't think it
It's gotta be applied across the board, otherwise it becomes a constitutional issue.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But the whole thing is though, if somebody comes in after 3 years and can't afford to pay the taxes and the interest and stuff, the board has the authority to start abating stuff. So if somebody is truly in need, even though you've charged us all this stuff, you could still abate it.
I've raised that issue, I debated it, trying to support the article, right? And the individual said, that may be true, but there are a lot of people who want to pay their taxes, who are having difficulty paying their taxes, and just will do whatever it is to get those taxes paid. And if they have to go into a year, I mean, it's difficult enough. And they're not gonna ask to be abated, they're gonna pay those taxes one way or another.
Some people are too proud to come in.
Well, that's the
Taxes
problem.
to be.
And so, I get both sides of the argument, I'm not promoting one way or another,
It's fine, we'll let the taxpayers decide.
I'm just saying, she's not sitting there, and I move that to her.
The one question I had, so if there was like 2 pages of people who hadn't paid their taxes in the first year, and then it drops right off. I get that. The amount of money that those 2 pages total up to, taxes outstanding, does that enter into what we use the TAN to cover, or?
Right, if people aren't paying their taxes,
Yeah.
then we have to borrow more money.
Yeah.
To pay our bills.
Okay. And then should this be tied directly to the interest rate, or somewhere close to the interest rate that we pay for the TAN notes? As opposed to, we're not gonna pay 8% for the TAN note.
No, you're paying right down to.
So what are we paying, 2 or 3% on a TAN note?
Well, we don't know. Last year, we thought we were going to have to pay up around 2.5 or 3%, I forget the actual number. The numbers that first came in were very close to 3%, but they went down, so we had put 40,000, I think, or 50,000 in the budget, and they went down to 27,000 that we paid. Primarily because that's guaranteed money for the bank.
Sure.
So the banks are gonna be really bidding on that TAN note. This year, I think we put another 50,000 on it, even though we estimate that the percentage, interest might go up as high as, they've told us, 3.5 to 4. So, I don't know if it'll be that high, but, so it's hard to say what that TAN note is.
So it seems to me that at the very least, if people are using the town for a bank, so to speak, and just not paying that bill because they've got other bills with higher interest that they're paying, I get all that. But if that totals into a lot of money that we're having to take out a TAN note for to cover while we're waiting for them to pay their taxes, then at the very least, I mean, you can say, well, the town shouldn't maybe make money on that, but we shouldn't lose money on it. So, we should be charging
An interest rate.
an interest rate that corresponds at least with the TAN note. I'm not sure we should be paying 3% interest for our TAN note and charging 8% interest for this.
I think that's what the individual was saying.
Yeah, and so, I guess that kind of makes sense to me, but on the other hand, I get the point, here we go again, about how do we discourage people from not paying their taxes?
I don't think you're gonna.
You don't know, but yet the town shouldn't go in the hole.
I don't think you gotta worry about that either. It'll be happening.
So I guess I'm open to dropping this, either on the floor or right now, but I wouldn't go any lower than any prospective TAN interest rate that we would potentially
Last
pay.
year was 4%.
You can't make it even money, I mean, you gotta have a little bit of a cushion in there, especially with what the Fed's doing between now and
Yeah.
next year when we gotta pull out the TAN. The Fed may we may be pushing 4% without even thinking about it.
Why is that?
And if all we're doing for the TAN,
Yeah.
over 4, and if all we're doing is 4% on the
Yeah.
unpaid taxes,
So
we're
maybe-
losing money.
Maybe it should be set at, maybe it could even be written in here that it's set at a rate, one interest, 1 percentage point above the TAN note rate. I mean, that would be fair to some degree. Because we never know what the TAN note's gonna be, so it would just be, we cover it that way instead of charging 8%. I don't know, does that make sense?
I have a lot better time with that than I do just saying arbitrarily, well, we'll say 4% or whatever.
Yeah,
It also costs the town some money to administer each one of these
Sure.
loans that are more than 2 pages.
yeah,
Your whole liens, the foreclosure.
yeah, I agree. So I don't know. I guess maybe we leave it and we see what happens on the floor.
Like, just send out notices.
I would also be very happy if it's legal to do
Send
it,
a date to mark
is
the
to
tax
have a
bills.
rate for the lower tier of these, the $5,000 to $7,500 or
I don't know.
something.
That's kind of what.
And a higher rate for the ones who obviously are writing this for big amounts of money.
Sure.
That's pretty much what Jason suggested.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for you can't do that.
It's not rocket science.
Why
So
can't
you
you?
couldn't have a rate for
It's a
a,
constitutional issue. People have to be charged tax fairly, and that broke.
you're right.
Okay. Never mind.
Yeah, you got it.
Keep on going.
But it's not a private business.
I don't have a problem with, I like the idea of tying it to TAN note, but we'd find out what the TAN is before we ever have to send out the tax bills for the year, correct?
Right.
So then you probably could tie it together with that language saying it would be 1% higher than the TAN note, because that would cover the administration, the extra fees and things we have to do. And then basically, if you get a TAN note that's 5%, it's done at 6%. If you get it 4, it's done at 5.
Sure.
And I think that would probably be a good way to do it.
I'd rather see it discussed here and changed in the article than done on the floor.
I think you're right.
That's why I brought it up.
Can we reword this so
Yeah,
that,
you can if you want, it's your pleasure, so you can say, to see if the town will set Friday, September 6th as a date, taxes to do, and charge an interest at 1% higher than the TAN note interest.
Yep.
Per annum, when taxes paid after.
I might go along with that, but I'm not one to go along with it.
I got it. I'm here to serve you.
No, I didn't care.
No, I agree with you, I just, because, if this comes up on the floor, people are gonna say the town's trying to make money off taxpayers, we don't want that necessarily. But we don't want the town to lose money at the taxpayers, at other taxpayers' expense either. So, we should be fair about it, so 1% higher than the TAN note interest per annum.
Would rationalize that, there's some rationale to
Yep,
that.
yep, absolutely.
And that as I said, that extra 1% pays for administrative costs too.
So I'll make a motion that we accept this article,
I'll second this.
as amended.
I think you first gotta go back and take this article out.
You have to take care of
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we, reconsider Article 14.
What number is it?
14.
Second.
Okay, that's been seconded.
You know, if you're gonna do that, I think you can do away with that article, and put it back to 13, and probably fly. And get away with one article less. Well, because we made an extra article out of that.
Yeah.
Because they were
may have, but I understood that the reason why we separated is because there were really two issues.
Well, we've always had it in one
I
eye.
know, but that's what I have.
I don't care, if you wanna keep it to.
I don't really.
I don't care, it's up to you guys.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so I made the motion that we reconsider Article 14.
Okay,
That's been seconded, I think.
Yes.
And so we vote on that. Is that right?
so is there any discussion on that? We're gonna
We're gonna reconsider it.
reconsider it with 1% over whatever the tan note is?
Yep. Okay. So we're withdrawing this one, right?
Yep.
Okay, we gotta vote on
Yeah,
that.
we ought to withdraw it first.
Okay, so
We'll withdraw the first,
Yep.
Article 14 first.
that's been seconded.
Moved in second, all in favor of that?
Okay, that's-
Okay. Now, we're gonna go with that.
okay, so then I'll make a motion that we,
Read it the way it's gonna say.
to see if the town will set Friday, September 6, 2019 as the date that the 2019 property taxes are due and charge interest rate at the rate of 1% higher than the TAN note, the anticipated TAN note
Tax anticipation note, interest rate.
per annum on taxes paid after September 6, 2019, with interest to continue until the tax and tax lien paid in full. See if the town, see if the town will set the interest rate to be paid by the town on taxes paid and later abated at 2% per annum from the date of the tax payment to the date the abated amount is refunded to the taxpayer. Correct? We don't need to change the two.
No.
That was-
And take the note out, that
Go ahead.
says 8% max.
Are we gonna take the 8% max note out? Or
No, we should leave that.
That's
in.
in there for
That's
All
almost,
right.
Reference.
All right.
That's how high it could go.
Why, you're a second on that?
Yes.
And moved in second. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor? I'll go along.
Ricky voted yes.
Yes. That will clean the floor up a little bit. Budget committee?
budget committee, we're willing to go 1% above the TAN? Yes?
Thank you.
5 and 1 absent.
Thank you, guys. I think that's gonna save a lot of town meeting.
We're gonna have enough.
All right.
Okay, there's, two other issues that are for the board, the budget committee doesn't need to stay, but you can if you want.
Before you get into that, may I ask a question?
No.
I've put together a report of the trust activity for the town report. It's basically, I think I've sent them, I don't know if I don't know, it got sent, did it get sent to the board?
I didn't give them.
Okay, basically, procedure question. I've got it on 2 sides with each trust broken out with the amounts and the percentages and the whatever. The suggestion made by one of the budget committee members was to put this in a spreadsheet on a single page and just have it as just the numbers without this format. Which way would you like it to be? Would you like it to be in the town report?
I think it looks good the way it is.
I'm sorry?
I like it the way it is, but I'm open to whatever you want.
But this is something that you guys can review it and look at it and see what you want. Jack, you made that,
Yeah, I think you need 2 things. I think you need an accounting of the unified trust. And you need it from the starting date, beginning of the year, or the end of the previous year, to the end of the current year. You need that. And then you need the transactions, the pluses and the minuses of what goes into that, so that it's in balance. You need to have that balanced. And one of the items that you have is the withdrawals under the policy that we have. Another one is the 10%. You can take the 10% that's reinvested right out of the main accounting. You don't have to take it out for every single thing in the unified trust and report it, because it's already done for all of them. So you just take the net amount out of that spreadsheet, that spread that I mentioned. Take the net amount and distribute it as Howard has distributed it here for $13,000 some odd dollars, and show what the breakup of that is.
why don't we,
Just two very simple things.
What I would suggest is, we look at that, come up with an approach that you're talking about, send that out and see what people think. You know, I mean, you pretty much got the spreadsheet done.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess my attempt in doing it this way was to show the individuality of the different things within the unified trust.
We've had a lot of problems with not having details. Like 20 years from now, people want to look back and want to know the details of these trusts, and that's how we got into a problem. So I'm all for the details, so that we ever have to go back, those details are spelled right out.
Sure, like it.
So to keep.
But I would assume that the annual statement from Bar Harbor is also gonna be included in the town report.
Yep, and the auditor also has some.
And the auditor, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess
We probably ought to keep it as simple as we can, so people can understand. I mean, people get reading into it too much and they don't know what the hell it is, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that's probably what you got.
And for heaven's sakes, leave the pennies off it, just
Right.
run around.
Well,
totally agree.
Round,
I'm sorry, I think that in terms of the report of what the beginning balance was and what the ending balance was, that's not a rounding situation. I don't have any problems with the distributions being rounded to dollars, but I think that when we report out what the fund is doing, there's nothing wrong with the fractional dollars. Just my 2 cents. I know Jack and I disagree on that, but that's fine.
There you go, 2 cents, right?
Okay, well, we'll work that. Okay, so there's 2 issues.
okay? Thank you guys very much.
As I indicated in the memo, Mitch and Sarah Tupper are trying to buy this house up on, where is it, Point Road, I guess it is?
28 Hunts Point.
Yeah. And it was constructed a long time ago, and apparently it's 2 feet closer to the line than it should be. There's no record of a variance or anything, and they're having trouble getting a loan from the bank because of this. So, what Gary did was he checked through, what other towns do, what the code enforcement officer can do, presented a map. He came up with a no action letter that essentially they'll file with the deeds that authorizes this in a way that they can get their loans. You're not gonna require them to move the house. So, it's a no action letter, other towns do this, Gary did it, but he can't take this to auction without authorization of the board. So if you would, just, vote to accept this, action, and then that'll make it.
I think that's really what it's doing. So you took the second one. So, I'll make a motion to do that.
Okay, second that.
You move to second. Okay?
Yep.
All in favor?
The only other action we have is, I am trying to coordinate a flyover of a 135, KC 135R model out of Bangor over the Memorial Day celebration. It'll be at the beginning of the celebration. In order to do that, there's a lot of things you have to do. You have to fill out forms and all that. One of the forms requires that the sponsor, which is the channel, sign an article, sign here that says all the above information is correct. I have to sign it too, so I'm verifying that the information I put into it is correct. I've asked Ricky if he would do that. I think he's correct in asking permission from the board to authorize him to do that on behalf of the town.
We're a team, so that's the way I wanna do things.
Okay,
So,
sure.
I forgot what I had.
Alright,
So, you guys wanna make them,
I'll make a motion that we, authorize Ricky and
Danny?
Denny to, sign that and line that, flyover up.
I don't think there's ever been a flyover in Mount
So you're a second on that?
Second.
You moved and seconded, any discussion on it? Seeing none, all in favor? I'm gonna abstain from voting, but 3, 1 abstention.
Okay, so here you sign. That's all I got.
All right.
We'll get a flyover.
That's it? We can go on? I can slip and slide all the way up.
Fuel spills.
And we have to go to
Make a